Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video we're going to be talking about when we can expect a big warm-up, and I know a lot of you are probably really happy about that, including me. We finally see when that warm-up is coming, and I'm going to show you guys throughout this video. Now, before I get started with this video, though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. Now, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, what was your first car you ever had? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking my favorite one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's get started with this video, though, and as you can see, we're looking at some very cold temperatures. So we're looking at our current temperature anomalies, and there's record-breaking cold throughout the central and eastern United States. Very cold for this time of year, actually, and we broke many records. Hundreds of areas broke records with this cold, and actually, just last night through this morning, we're breaking records for snowfall throughout the northeastern United States. So this is a very record-breaking, historic pattern we're in right now. What a day to be alive in the weather world. Let's go ahead and move on to about Wednesday, and you can see we're still dealing with the colder than normal conditions in the central and eastern United States. So, really, this isn't going to be soon, not very soon. So we're looking maybe 5 days from now, we're still dealing with the cold. Alright, now we're about to move on where we're going to start to see a big change, though. We're going to start to see something happen very interesting that's going to switch up the pattern entirely. Alright, and here we're looking at about Thursday, 8 a.m. And you can see for the central United States, we see that warm-up begin for a lot of the plains, the Midwest, and the Ohio Valley. We do still see some lighter blues there for the eastern United States, but really these are going to be really close to normal. I think that, and I would say this is going to be about a degree to maybe 4 degrees below average, which is just going to feel quite normal, actually, quite pleasant. Now let's go ahead and move on towards 2 a.m. on Friday, and this is when we really begin to see the change here. The central United States still up through the Midwest and Ohio Valley, and then even for the Mid-Atlantic and portions of the Northeast, we're dealing with these warmer than normal conditions. The Southeast looks to hold on to those near normal conditions a little bit, as well as northern New England. But really, we're going to see an entire switch up of the pattern. We're going to begin to really see this warm pattern set in, and it's going to take over midway through the week next week, through the later portion of next week. Let's move on once more, and this is by Saturday at 8 a.m., and you can see it's taking over even further. We're seeing the southeastern United States start to warm up, the northern New England areas start to warm up. Some of these reds are in the 4 to maybe 8 degrees above average column, so this isn't a heat wave by any means. This isn't a, well above normal type event here, but it's going to feel drastic compared to the record cold we're dealing with right now. To go all the way from record cold to pretty well above average, that's going to be a big change and big warm up here for the central and eastern United States, and I think a majority of you are looking forward to that. Let me know in the comments if you want it to warm up or if you want it to just stay cold. I mean, for me, I really just want it to warm up, but I'm curious to see what most of you guys say. We're about to move on, but we're going to see this warm up actually become more intense towards the weekend, possibly towards Saturday and Sunday. So the later portion of next weekend, we'll take a look at what's going to be happening by that point. Alright, and it's basically the same story by this point, except we're starting to see some of those more deeper, I guess, I don't even know what you'd call it, deeper red colors and even pinks there for Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York State. These areas are going to be areas where we're 6 to 12 degrees above average, so it's going to start to become a little bit more well above average as far as temperatures are concerned. So this warm-up is going to kind of sit in and then really begin to intensify. So it's going to be pretty long-lived, and it's going to be a nice break from this cool-down, and fingers crossed that it kind of doesn't go back to a cool-down after this is all said and done. Right now, the models in the very long range kind of have a brief cool-down at least, but I think that that's so far out, we might not be dealing with that, but we'll have to take a look. That's all going to be in this video, by the way, so we will take a look at that. Let's go ahead and move on towards about 2 a.m. on Monday, May 18th, and you can see a little bit of cool air makes its way into the central United States. Still, the eastern United States is dealing with these pretty well above normal temperatures, actually, for Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont. Again, that's kind of those deeper reds into the pink shades. That's 6 to 12 degrees above average, but really the yellows and oranges are going to be enough above average to be quite noticeable for most areas here. But again, we do still see those near normal lighter blue areas kind of making their way through the plains, Midwest, and South Central United States. All right, now we're about to move on where we're going to start to see that warm-up start to get eaten up, and we're going to see it kind of take a change, and then we'll see if it can recover or not. And here we are by Tuesday, about 10 days from now or so, and we see that the little bit of a cool down makes its way for the central United States and through the Ohio Valley as well. The eastern seaboard is still dealing with some warmer than normal conditions, so this is going to be a long-lived warm-up actually, possibly close to a week long, so definitely a significant amount of time this upcoming next week and then through the weekend and into the week after that. We're going to be dealing with a pretty decent warm-up, like I said before, pretty long-lived. There is some warmth behind this cool down, so what we're going to see is as we move towards Thursday, or this is actually Wednesday at about 8 p.m., that second warm-up kind of takes over, and we see that little bit of a cool down kind of get eaten up, and we're dealing with, again, mostly warmer than normal conditions for the entirety of the eastern and most of the central United States as well. But look out towards, I guess, just east of the Rockies there for portions of the upper Midwest and the plains. We see a pretty potent cool down for that area by this point. Again, this is very, very far out at this point, so the confidence has lowered quite a bit, but we are seeing a cool down by this point. And as we take it towards about 2 a.m. on Friday, you can see that expands into the central United States. This is looking quite familiar to the pattern we've had for months and months and months. So we'll really have to see as we move forward if this plays out this way, but the most thing I'm confident in is that we are going to have a warm-up. It's going to be quite significant, and it's actually going to be quite long-lived as well. So that's all the good news that I have for this video for now. Now let's go ahead and look at our 5-day increments from the GEFS model, which is a mean ensemble model. And you can see that this is by, this is going to be the 5-day period from about the 9th through the 14th of May. So from the 9th, which is today, through the 14th, we're going to still be dealing with overall those colder than normal conditions, actually well below normal conditions for the entire central and eastern United States. But as we head on to the next 5-day increment, check out this big change, guys. Look at how big that change was. Now this is the 14th through the 19th. We're dealing with yellows for most of the eastern and central United States, with the exception of maybe New England and a little bit of the upper Midwest and the Great Plains there. But really, overall, the pattern shifts from well below normal to near normal or above average temperatures for the eastern and central United States. So a huge switch up and pretty good news if you ask me. And then as we head towards the next 5-day increment, and this is going to be the 19th through the 24th, we see it get even warmer actually. So the GEFS as of right now isn't really on board with that big cool down that comes in afterwards. It's thinking we just keep right along with the warmer than normal conditions, which I think would be really good news. Anyway, so we're about to start talking about some other things. We're going to talk about the Climate Prediction Center's thoughts on this, and then also we're going to talk a little bit about the snow that we've had and maybe some upcoming severe weather chances as well. All right, and here's the Climate Prediction Center's 6 to 10 day outlook. This is for the 14th through the 18th, and you can see for this time period, they actually have colder than normal conditions for the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast. But for more of the southern United States, they have warmer weather. I think this would create big chances for severe weather. I always say this, if the warmest to the south and the coldest to the north, I think right in between there would be a severe weather chance. So I think somewhere for Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Iowa, that area, maybe even Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, we're going to be looking at possibly a severe weather chance or two for these regions for the 14th through the 18th. It just appears that way. And then as we head towards the next one, which is the 8 to 14 day outlook for the 16th through the 22nd, we see they get a little more confident in that big warm up here. They expand that, so we're gonna have to see what that would mean for severe weather. But I think the same story, really just some of those more central regions would be dealing with severe weather, possibly the Ohio Valley, potentially the Northeast, and then the Great Plains as well. All right, now let's take a look at that severe weather chance. And this is going to be for day 5. So this is actually going to be for the 13th through the early morning time on the 14th, which kind of is right in that time frame that I was talking about. But we see that Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska has a 15% chance on the extended range as of right now. So this probably means we will at least have a slight risk, possibly an enhanced or above as well. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on this one. This is kind of in our classic severe weather range, which hasn't been a place that we've been seeing a ton of severe weather yet. So it's really interesting to see the shift happening where we're seeing more severe weather chances for this area. Now, just quickly, I want to show you an update on that snowstorm. Here was the 24-hour snowfall as of 8 p.m. on yesterday, Friday, May 8th. And you can see we already had some accumulating snowfall for West Virginia, Ohio, near Cleveland, Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. These are all the areas that I was expecting to see some snowfall, and it's going to be a lot more than this once we get the update as of this morning and afternoon. But for now, that's as of 8 p.m. yesterday. That's the total snowfall. So this historic snowstorm did end up happening pretty much the way I said. Very, very proud of that. Anyway, briefly for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys if you could travel anywhere that you haven't been before, where would you go? And Jerry Wyatt said Switzerland, and that's one of my top places I want to travel to that I haven't been. Also, Norway was at the top of my list as well. I think Norway might be number 1 and Switzerland might be number 2. Those are kind of my top places I want to visit. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share this with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.